Welcome back to Apple Tree Teachings. If this is your first time on my channel, please first look at the video titled Unloving Gifts You Receive on Conception. This video will greatly help you to understand most of my videos on my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about choices, because most people in their life would seem to understand that they have choices, but the problem is they're not viewing their life as to seeing how the choices that they're making are affecting their life. I always like to do my video on a nice sunny day, but sometimes, I like the rain also and the fall. Anyways, let's begin. If you have not done so already, please subscribe below and put the alert on so you can get the next video as it comes on. But I've not said this before, but it will be welcoming if you could share this video and all my videos with other people, because remember, when you're learning about love can only produce lovingness, and if you feel that it's benefited your life, introduce it to someone else. I'm pretty sure that I'm very confident that they would find something that will trigger them to want to listen more. But the world you live in is an existence that you're going through, and it will not last forever. We all know that. However, you are made of the same material that the fabric of life is made of, and that's spirit. Your spirit does not exist, but continues to exist at a higher level of vibration, I should say. I shouldn't say your spirit doesn't exist. Your spirit does not stop existing, but it exists at a higher level. That's what I meant to say. This is important for you to know as you continue your journey through life. Throughout your journey, you will be faced with tough questions about things like religion, your belief, church, culture, science, and God. You will hear conflicting information from each of these subjects, and you really wouldn't know what to believe because it's so conflicting. You will get confused and think that one is better than the other, depending on who your audience is, who your friends are, who your family is, and you think that one is better than the other based on their belief system onto you. Your friends, family, and acquaintances will introduce you to many different things. Consider your life to be a mold. When I say a mold, what I mean by that is, it's kind of getting windy. Let me just pull up this window. What I mean by mold is that your surroundings tend to mold you in the person you are, or the person you're becoming, unless you start to discover things that are happening to you, which most people live and die and will not discover it at all. It's sad, but that's the bare bones of life. Without an awakening to sin, and when I say the word sin, I haven't used that word since I was a child. And if you take a look at the understanding of who uses the word sin, it's mostly religious people. I don't have a religious bone in my body. I'm not religious at all. But my findings are discoveries. And if you don't learn to discover, you will be molded by the surroundings that you keep. Meaning your parents' surroundings, the mold, your friends' surroundings, the mold, your organization, the religious organization, the mold. Once you discover something, it's your discovery. No one can ever take that away from you because you've discovered it. How can someone take away a discovery? It's discovered. So what I'm saying is that without the word sin comes from a religious background, but it's a word. It's a real word. You have to. It is placed in the right context. The word sin, it's like doing wrong. But I need to use that word because it has to resonate within you what I'm saying. But once you awaken to sin, it is impossible for you to receive God's love if sin is still inside you. It's impossible. God does not live in His creation, meaning that you do not live in your creation when you really think about it. Your cell phone, the person that made the cell phone, were they inside the cell phone when they made it or outside? Logic tells you have to be outside the cell phone to make the cell phone. The person that made the paint on your wall, the paint itself, were you inside the paint when you made it or outside? Well, logic tells you have to be outside. So whatever we create, we have to be outside our creation. Well, our Creator is the same way. Whatever He creates, she creates. You'll notice that I say God is He and she. I'll get to that sometime down the road. Whatever God has created, God is not inside His creation. It's impossible. He created it. God stands outside His creation, and God is an entity, a being. Now you remember, I don't got a religious bone in my body, but these are discoveries, and you will discover too once I start opening the door to what I've discovered. So, God does not live in His creation, and you are His creation. Just like deep space, air, and planets, that's a creation. So God cannot live inside dark matter because He created dark matter. God exists outside His creation, just like you exist outside your creation, such as a TV, a couch, a house, a car. But God's love travels instantly through you if you are awakened to sin, to wrong. If you want to discover what you're all about, your life could change. When you choose to lie, you're choosing to lie. There is no happiness in this. If you stop and think about that, you will know that. Common sense, right? Therefore, you must be receiving some level of pain in your spirit body. Yes, you do have a spirit body, and I will get through to that at some videos down. You have a physical body and a spirit body. The physical and spiritual body are aligned over each other like a glove. And then you have a soul. But I will explain that down the line. So when you choose to lie, there must be some level of pain in your spirit body that's protruding. Eventually, it will protrude to your physical body. When you choose to feel fear, yeah, your parents put it inside of you. And you choose to think that it's real. But fear is not real. Something that we create as a human being. But when you choose to feel fear, there is no happiness in this either. I mean, it sounds like common sense, but if you don't want to think about it, and you don't want to feel what I'm saying, these are just mere words. You have to want to discover it. So, if there's no happiness in this, and you don't feel happy being fearful, then there must be some level of pain that your spirit body is receiving for you to be able to feel it. If you choose to feel unworthy, It's a horrible feeling to feel unworthy. You think that other people feel worthy, but when you think of yourself, you don't feel worthy. A lot of women feel this way because of the way they're treated. Yes, the way they're treated unfairly. I'm not saying that men are not treated unfairly, but historically, women are treated more unfairly than men. We're getting better as a civilization, but nothing will ever truly change unless you want to discover. So when you feel unworthy, there is no happiness in this. That means you must be receiving some level of pain. When you choose to think negative about others, well, think about it. You're choosing to speak negative. Do you feel happiness when you choose to speak negative? No. There's no happiness in speaking negative about others. So you must be receiving some level of pain in your spirit body. When you choose to act negative, anger, when you choose to act negative, remember, these are all choices that you're making. And you're not even looking at the fact that it's a choice. You just wake up and things bother you and you just respond. But it is a choice. When you choose to think negative, you have to understand that there is no happiness in this either. It's a horrible feeling when you really think about it. And if there's no happiness in thinking, acting negatively, then think about it. There must be some level of pain in your spirit body that's happening inside of you. When you choose to lack self-worth, that's a horrible feeling. A horrible feeling. To lack self-worth. A lot of homeless people, a lot of children lack self-worth because of the treatment of the parents. When a teacher does not do their job properly, feel lack of worth. Too much favoritism in the world. Most parents are not even loving towards each other, and you copy that. But when you choose to lack self-worth, you don't feel happy, do you? No, there's no happiness coming out from that feeling. And yes, you will feel some sort of pain residing from your spirit body. When you choose to think you are better than others, you are better than others. You think there's happiness coming out from that? So when other people choose to think that they're better than you, does that make you happy? No, it doesn't. It's impossible. How could you feel happiness? And because you're not feeling happiness, you're absolutely right if you now understand that there is pain coming out of your spirit body. The more of these things that I'm talking about, what did I say? I said the more you lie, the more you feel fear, the more you feel unworthy, the more you lack worth, the more you act negatively, the more you lack self-worth, the more you think that you're better than others. Every minute will turn into an hour, which will turn into a day, which will turn into a week, which will turn into a month, which will turn into a year. But every time you act on these emotions, the stronger the pain will occur in your life. In other words, more pain will occur in your life if you're constantly lying, if you're constantly feeling fear, if you're constantly feeling unworthy, if you're constantly thinking negatively, or you're better than others, or you lack self-worth. If you're constantly thinking all these negative things, more pain will come into your life. It will just keep increasing as you age, because you're not doing anything about it. Your happiness is not going to increase either. How can it? How can you be more and more happy every week, every month, if these are the things that you feel inside of you? When you're working with your coworkers, and your coworkers are bothering you, or they're doing something that is silly, or you're doing things that's out of line with the way you would do it. When you feel, if you stop and feel what you feel, it does not feel like joy. There's no happiness in the way you feel about other employees when you're not thinking good things about them. A lot of people make mistakes in their life. It's not about other people, it's about yourself. You have to be the one that's tuned in to how you feel when you say certain things in your mind, in your head. When you say certain things about employees. Oh, I don't like him. I don't like her. Oh, I think she's crazy. I think he's nuts. You know, I wish that person got fired. I hate my boss. See, all those things that are coming out of you, if these are the things that you're saying, there is no happiness in any of these words. There's no happiness. So there must be some level of pain you're receiving. And the more and more you work in a toxic environment, the more and more you are in a toxic relationships, it's impossible that you're getting closer to feeling happy if you're not doing anything about it. It's impossible. The more you live in these denials, the worse your condition gets. See, love cannot produce unlovingness. It's impossible. How can it? Just the mere word itself is love. Do you hear and feel and sense any unlovingness in the word itself? It feels good. Love. It doesn't feel wrong. It doesn't have a wrong pitch or tone. It doesn't even have an understanding of wrong. It just feels good. But you can say the word, but that doesn't mean you live with the word inside of you. So just to recap, the choices you make, if your choices are constantly negative inside of you, it will only get more painful. If you keep choosing to be better, then you receive the gifts that you were given to love, to be happy, and you will see more truth in your life. When you think about it, when you choose to lie, when you choose to feel fear, you act negatively, you think you're better than others, you lack self-worth, confidence, this is the person you are becoming. This is the friend you are becoming to someone else. This is the boyfriend or girlfriend you are or becoming. This is the husband or wife you are and you have become, or you're becoming. Think about it. Every day, one day becomes a week, becomes a month, becomes a year, becomes a lifestyle. Really think about it. This is the mother and father you are becoming. The way you think right now. This is the mother and father you're becoming. This is the aunt and uncle you are becoming. How much love is coming out of you and how much unlovingness is coming towards you. You're the one that have to put it together. This is the grandfather and grandmother you have become. It is all your choosing. All your choosing. You're not alone in the process of life. I can share that with you because I know it's only because of these discoveries. The more I discover, the more I will share. But these discoveries resonate within me because I started my discoveries when I was very young, around 8 years old. And then in my older life, things started to just rapidly occur. Information started to come to me very easily. And the actions I make, I learned so much about myself. There is no happiness in doing wrong. Therefore, you create your own pain. Always. You always create your own pain. The more pain you experience, the more health issues you will develop. Do you understand that? Love cannot produce unlovingness. Love does not produce disease. Love cannot produce unhappiness. The more unhappy you are, the more unloving you are towards yourself in not wanting to be happy, and the more unloving you are to have people treat you unloving and you accepting it, the outcome can only be illness. Love does not produce illness. Your unloving choices in your life produces illness. That has to register here. Look at hospitals. I told you in my other video. They build a hospital, it's filled in no time. They build a larger hospital, gets filled quickly. They build the largest hospital in your city, and it's filled overnight. And if you take a look at the people, they're getting younger and younger with their medical issues, psychological issues. They're getting younger and younger in the hospital. It's because if you don't want to discover what your parents did to you in the first 7 years of your life, then you'll never discover what's going on with you. Now here's something that came as a discovery, and you're gonna have to remember this for a long period of time, the rest of your living life and also your spiritual life, because here's how you can tell, give you a hint. The human body is so amazing. The energy that's within the body, in every part of your body, it gives a reading. Yeah, that's a discovery. It gives a reading. The more you want to know, the more information will come into you. You don't have to read much. You just have to be aware. Want to sit down and look at the trees, look at the sunlight, look at the rain, feel the breeze, and just want to know about life. And you're going to see how much love will come to you once you start getting rid of sin. Just watching people playing baseball here. It's funny when you see little kids. If you experience pain on the left side, it means that you have problems, emotional problems towards women in your life. That's a discovery. If you take your body vertical, I split it left and right. When you're watching the video, you know where your left and right is. Comes out the other way on the video, right? But the left side of your body tries to tell you about the emotional injuries you have towards women. The right side tells you the emotional injuries you have towards men. That's a discovery. If you take a look at your life and look at the injuries that you have, the majority of scrapes, I'm not saying all, the majority of scrapes, headaches, elbow injury, knee injury, hip injury, stomach problems, you've got a gash in your arm or your leg. If you notice it mostly on one side since birth, then that tells you, if you really take a look at your life itself, if it's on the left side, then that's your spirit body is trying to tell you you have a lot of emotional problems towards women. So if it's the case, when you really take a look at your life, so someone cuts you off, you're driving, someone cuts you off. If it's a lady, and most of your injuries are on your left side, and a lady cuts you off, tells you something. You go to the grocery store, and someone wants to butt in front of you. Could be a lady. When you think about it, if most of your injuries are on your left, these things are going to happen. The person that is not nice to you, the grocery person, having a bad day, you go up to her and you start making comments, negative comments. Look at the way she's talking. Look how slow she's moving. Yeah, problem with women. You didn't get the job. Who was the interviewer? Lady? Problem with women. You go take your driving test. A lady was there, she failed you. You have problems with women? Your spouse, your wife or your girlfriend, always coming down on you because of the way she feels. Problem with women? Your girl child and your boy child. If you take a look at the individual issues, you wonder why your girl child has certain issues about you, the way you treat her. Look at it very closely, and you're going to start to understand some things about yourself. If you're playing a game with guys and girls, and just say you're playing a football game and a lady throws the ball and hits you, you didn't catch it properly. You have a problem with women? When you start taking a look at what problems you have with women, and you really want to make that change, I guarantee you these issues will disappear like it's never even happened. I guarantee you. I know. I've discovered it. And if the problem is mostly on the right, you have a cut in your knee, you woke up and your knee hurts, or your ankle hurts, or you're walking and you twist your ankle, or you have a muscle spasm. It's on the right hand side. Think about it. If constantly you're having these problems, someone cuts you off, you take a look, oh, it's a man, and constantly, whenever someone cuts you off, it's a man. Before, when I first started to investigate these things, constantly, women were cutting me off. And I had to think about it. Why? Why is it always a lady coming in my view? And I realized that whenever a lady asked me to do something, I would always do it for her. I was always kind and considerate. Then I started realizing people started taking advantage of my kindness. I was always a lady, taking advantage of my kindness. So when someone cuts me off, it's a lady. I have problems with women. I have problems pushing back to say, you know what, you treated me unfairly, and that's not nice. Because I thought having respect for others especially a lady, like holding the door open and doing kind things, would is just the right thing to do. But sometimes when you're overly kind, people take advantage of you. Not even knowing that they're taking advantage of you, but when you really when I started to take a look at my life, why certain things were happening, I realized it's constantly a lady. And when I dealt with the issue, at please stop this. You know what? I didn't like the way you said that. When I dealt with the issue, I realized my issues went from this big, which is not much at all actually, and it shrunk. It shrunk. I don't have much of a problem anymore. It's because I discovered it. I discovered something about myself. And what do you do with a discovery? Well, you can work with it, or you can ignore it. I chose to work with it. I chose to have peace with all my discoveries, the things that I'm discovering. And believe me, once you start looking at some truth and you start working on it, your problems will disappear like magic. The choices you make with your free will indicates how much pain you experience in your life. The more you tell the truth, the less pain you experience in your life. The more you tell the truth, the less pain you will receive in your life. Not everyone wants to hear the truth. You know that from very little. Not everyone wants to hear the truth, but it would not be your pain. So if you're telling the truth, it's not going to be your pain. It will be their pain when they're doing something wrong. So just want to tell the truth, no matter what. It's not your pain. Fear is an emotion that is generated by false belief. Think about what fear is. Someone had to put it inside of you and you to believe it. There's no such thing as fear. What's there to fear? It's something we created. Thoughts are directional. Your thoughts are directional in nature. It will hit its target 100%. 100%. When you think of someone negatively, your thought has to go somewhere. It's almost like a phone call. You press the numbers on the cell phone, and with two binary waves in the air, it will connect somehow with the right party. It will not connect to the wrong party. Your thoughts give out brain waves. It will hit its target 100% of the times. That's how people build nice relationships and poor relationships. You can just feel someone if they feel good or they don't feel good. If you like them or you don't like them. That feeling is coming to you because someone is throwing the thought. Thoughts are directional. It's hitting you if you're feeling it. There is no good in doing wrong. You cannot see yourself grow. And you also cannot see the painful choices you are making in your life. You can't. You're making a painful choice right now, but you can't see how it's building a mountain. You think that you just make a choice right now and it disappears. It doesn't. It carries layers into your life, and it gets worse and worse and worse. It's almost like you have a boat and you keep putting a brick inside the boat. What will eventually happen? Layers upon layers upon layers. You're just sinking. Sickness has to occur. it is sensible to understand that. Just want to tell the truth constantly in your life. You need to make better choices in life. Feelings are just feelings. They need to be felt. And they don't need to be acted on. I'm going to say it again. Feelings are feelings. They need to be felt. But you don't have to act it out. So if you're angry, feel anger. But you don't have to act it out. You don't have to shout at your spouse. You don't have to shout at your kids. You don't have to degrade your partner. That's acting it out. You don't have to humiliate someone. You have feelings. Your feelings are hurt. Feel it. Feel what it is that you're feeling. And then, but don't act it out. You will only be hurting yourself. If you have to rewind this part, rewind it. I'll say it again. Feel the emotion that's coming out of you, but you don't have to act it out. If you choose to act it out, then you're choosing to stay sick. That's all. You're choosing. I mean, how long could you be angry for? Like when you're angry, if you're angry at the moment something's happening, don't you know that anger is going to end? Don't you know it only has a time limit? So don't choose to act it out. And your life can only get better. These events that are causing you harm, if you choose to act it out, more harm will come to you. Because your soul connection is telling you this is what you want. You can only go out in the world finding things with what's inside you. Remember my previous video about the elephant? If you can't see the elephant, how do you know what it is? Go to a caveman and say, let's take the car. What's a car? You can only go out in the world with what's inside of you. If you don't start changing what's inside of you, then how can you get better? The fastest way to release emotions, to understand emotions, is to want to cry. It's a good thing, actually. Crying is a good thing. I know most parents will say, stop your crying! But it's actually a good thing. Doesn't matter if you're a man, doesn't matter if you're a boy, doesn't matter if you're a teenager. You know, crying releases emotions, and you're an emotional being. But anyways, I'm going to end there. My next topic is going to be in the introduction to how you know God exists. Remember, I'm not religious. I discovered something amazingly that I want you to discover also. And because of that discovery, my life has changed. Totally. Totally. I no longer, want to live. Well, I never did anyways. I don't want to live like how people are living their life. And I'm sharing with you things that I've discovered, that once you start to hear what I have to say and you start living it, discoveries are going to come to you. Trust me, it will. You don't need a book. You don't need a psychiatrist. You don't need a doctor. Remember, all these people, they weren't born with love. They never learned to love themselves. So how can they tell you something they've never felt? What I'm telling you is that I want you to discover. I want you to look around. I want you to look at people, look at their relationships. I want you to look at your friends' relationships, your parents' relationships, your brothers and sisters' relationships, aunt and uncles, your neighbors. Sit down on your porch and start looking at people, the way they communicate. You'll realize there's something wrong with human beings. They don't want to discover what you are meant to discover. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, thank you for watching, and remember, subscribe, and it'll be loving for you to share this video with others and the rest of my videos. But always remember to tell them to watch that first video first, the unloving gifts you receive on conception. and that will help them to understand the rest of the videos. Anyways, take care, and I'll put that other video together about God very shortly. Have a good day.